This video shows a diversity of cultural traditions. We hope you learned something. Enjoy! Hi, I'm Manar. I'm going to talk a little bit about a religious holiday from my faith tradition. First of all, I should tell you that I'm Muslim. This means that my religion is Islam. We use this hand shape in sign language to show Islam. This is why. That's our symbol. You can see the hand shape looks like the moon in that image of the moon and the star. That's something good to know. Now I'm going to talk about one of our most significant holidays, a holiday that many Muslims celebrate. That holiday is Ramadan. Ramadan is a holiday that we recognize by fasting. Fasting means that you don't eat or drink anything during the day. We follow the sun until nighttime, and then once we see the moon, we can eat, drink, and most importantly, pray. We do that every night for a month. There's a couple of important reasons why we do this. The first reason is we want our sins to be forgiven. This is a way of performing a good deed to stay closer in our connection with God, or Allah. Allah is an Arabic word that means God, so you can say either one. Allah or God, they mean the same thing. The second reason is we want to stay connected with other people, with those who are less fortunate than us. There are people who are homeless, who don't have food and drink, and by fasting for the month of Ramadan, we better understand their experience. That's another good deed. Good deeds are a way of doing things for other people, to improve our life and others, and be an inspiration. That's one of my favorite things about Ramadan. Ramadan lasts for a month or 30 days. It doesn't happen the same month every year, so sometimes it's a little earlier or a little later, but it always lasts a month. The reason that the start date changes every year is because we follow the lunar calendar. We wait until we see the Ramadan moon. It looks like a crescent moon. We then fast for the whole month of Ramadan until we see the crescent moon again. It looks like this. That moon is important to tell us when Ramadan starts and stops. After a month of fasting, then we're ready to break the fast. At the end of Ramadan, we celebrate with something called Eid al-Fitr. That's a holiday where we recognize the end of Ramadan, and the traditions involved with that include dressing up in formal clothing. I'll show you a picture of what my outfit looked like last year. We put on makeup and fancy dress, whatever beautiful clothing you want to wear as if you were going to a party or a prom. Here's my clothing last year. That's me, all dressed up. We also have family members who come together. We may go to each other's homes, but either way, we gather to celebrate with a traditional cookie called mamul. This traditional cookie is made of a special dough with spices and dates. If you're not familiar with a date, it's a fruit that is small and brown like this. We use the dates and the special dough, and then we stuff the dates inside to make the final mamul cookie like this. These cookies are shared and eaten as part of the celebration. We also use a special small coffee cup for Middle Eastern coffee. After the celebration at everyone's home that night, after seeing each other and spending the night partying and visiting, it's such a good time, and then we go home afterwards. Different Muslims celebrate in different ways, but that's my tradition. Hopefully you enjoyed learning something new. I'd also like to talk a little bit about another important part of my religion. That is wearing a hijab. As you can see, I have one on, so I'd like to talk a little bit about that. We wear it in part to show our belief in God, the importance of our connection with Allah. It's a symbol of female modesty. It's our right. We're free to wear the hijab to express our religion. We also want to be able to demonstrate that we're more than our bodies, more than our appearances. It's important to know who we are as women for our personalities, our strengths, our contributions. I want to be known for my brain, my heart, what I give to the world, not just for my looks. So the hijab allows me to express that and is an important part of my Muslim faith. We also know that traditionally women are something to be protected. But I've been wearing the hijab since 8th grade, and now I'm a senior in high school. I plan to continue wearing the hijab. At this point, my hijab is a way of expressing myself, me, my confidence, my religion, and my modesty. I appreciate as a woman of faith and a deaf woman that I have this religious freedom to wear a hijab. Not everyone who wears a hijab looks like me or is from an Arab family. You can have a person wearing a hijab who's white, who's maybe a black Muslim. They wear hijabs too. People of various ethnicities and races wear a hijab to express their religion. I hope this was good for you to learn something new about Islam and people who wear hijabs.
Hi, my name is Kathleen. My family has several traditions and celebrations that I'd like to share with you. One of them is called a quinceañera. Let me show you a few pictures to help you get a feeling for what a quinceañera might look like. Now that you've seen some pictures, I'm sure you're wondering what this big celebration is all about. Well, when a girl is turning 15, in our culture, that's a time for a big celebration. Turning 15 marks the transition into adulthood. To mark this big transition, many people will celebrate their 15th birthday by having a quinceañera. It's almost like a big party that's held in honor of the soon-to-be young woman. Everyone who has a quinceañera follows traditions a little bit differently. Some people might attend church before going to the party, while others might plan to go straight to the celebration. There's also different traditions that take place at the quinceañera. So, for example, some girls might do a dance performance. There's also a symbolic doll that's given to the girl at her quinceañera as well. Most of it really depends on the girl's personal preferences, including the number of guests invited. This is, after all, a once-in-a-lifetime event. I'd like to share with you some of the pictures from my quinceañera now when I turned 15. That was almost 5 years ago now. Here they are. Those pictures that you just saw from my quinceañera were actually taken in Panama. That's because it's a tradition on my mother's side of the family to host your quinceañera in Panama, because some of our family here in the States celebrate their daughter's sweet 16 instead of planning a quinceañera. For my immediate family, like my mom, back in the day when she was turning 15, she celebrated her birthday with a quinceañera. I've been to other quinceañeras too. I guess it was back in 2011 that I went to one for my mother's friend's daughter. It's a big thing. So, with all this talk of quinceañeras, I'm sure you're wondering what all is involved. I know I've said it's a party, but it's really more than that. It's not just a bunch of people hanging out. It's a time for family and friends to get together to celebrate. Sometimes there's even a theme for the quinceañera. There's music, dancing, and usually food is served too, so that everyone can just relax and enjoy themselves. Now, you know how sometimes a sweet 16 birthday party will last, I don't know, until maybe midnight? Well, for a quinceañera, it might start at 7 p.m., but it'll keep going until 1, 2, or even 3 in the morning. I've been to other quinceañeras that last all night, and they're quite the event. But when you stop to think about it, it's no wonder they last so long. There's a whole lot of time and energy, not to mention money, involved in the planning process for a quinceañera. You have to find dresses to wear, pick out the music in English and Spanish, and dances that have to be coordinated. It's really a lot. Having a quinceañera of my own was important for me to feel that connection to my heritage. I've grown up listening to stories of my own mother's quinceañera and finally got to have that experience of my own. Now it's almost time for my sister to have her quinceañera. It'll be in a couple years, but I'm looking forward to it. Many cultures celebrate the transition from childhood into adulthood when a girl turns 15. It's an important milestone because that's the age when you start to date, learn to drive, get a job. By that time, you're in high school and starting to think about what your future will look like. It's a big time in your life. Quinceañeras are a traditional celebration for Hispanic people around the world. Depending on which country you and your family are from, the celebration might be a little bit different than what I've described. My family, specifically my mother's side, is from Panama. So that's where I celebrated my quinceañera, and those are the traditions that my mother passed down to me when I turned 15. Hi, it's me, Kathleen again. I have another cultural tradition to share with you from Panama. This one is called a pollera. If you haven't heard of it before, I'm sure you're wondering what it is. So, here's some pictures. Now, polleras aren't something that you see every day, right? That's because they're traditionally worn for specific events. Some of the places that you'll notice polleras worn are for festivals, coming of age celebrations, weddings, parades, parties. If there's an occasion where a woman would want to dress up and look nice, there's a good chance she'll be wearing a pollera, completing the look with her hair done up and her makeup too. Now, it's not just women that start wearing polleras as adults. It's something that even little girls will wear. In Panama, girls will start wearing polleras to the same celebrations that women do, and it becomes a lifelong tradition. The first time that I saw someone wearing a pollera, I thought it was some kind of dress. The more and more I saw them in Panama, I figured it must be just that they all liked that style, or maybe it was some kind of uniform, but turns out I was wrong. The history of polleras actually has ties to Spain as well as Panama. It was decided that there should be something nice for the indigenous people to wear, and some of the Spanish people wore it too. Over time, the pollera has become a symbol that people identify with historical traditions, including dancing. It's important to learn about cultures and traditions because they differ from country to country. In many Spanish-speaking countries, there are different traditional dresses, and in Panama, ours is called the pollera. It has ties to Spain and also indigenous people, like I mentioned before. Wearing this distinctive style of clothing to different events shows your heritage and pride in your country. Of course, learning about these traditions is important to me because that's where my family is from. Having ties to Panama means I want to learn more about the culture and traditions there. I've learned about the history of the United States, but since I'm Panamanian and Puerto Rican, it's important for me to learn about their history too. I've learned more about my Panamanian ancestry and even got to experience some of the traditions for myself. As for the polleras, I think they're just fascinating. I hope that one day I'll have one of my own to wear, or maybe I can use it to share my culture with others. It would be great to be able to show other people more about Panama. Our family is Jewish.
That's right. On Friday nights, we celebrate Shabbat. Why do we celebrate Shabbat?
We celebrate Shabbat with all of this.
That's true, but why? Why do we celebrate it?
Well, the whole world,
The whole
world, it was created in 7 days. But on the 4th day, he rested.
That's right. It's a rest day, so we rest too. We don't work or anything. There's other special things about Shabbat too. What are some of those? What do we do with this?
We put coins in.
That's right. We put coins in. We collect money in there. Why? Who's it for?
Those are for people who don't have food.
Food. That's right. What else do we do?
These.
Yep. What's the sign for it? Can you share it? Okay.
We light candles.
We light candles. That's right. And we pray. This is our wine or grape juice.
Yum, yum, yum.
Okay. Now there's this one more thing. It's a very special kind of bread, and it has a name. What is this?
It's challah.
Good job. And how do we sign that? How do we say challah in sign language?
Challah.
That's right. Challah.
Yum, yum, yum. Hello. My name is Emilio. I'm going to explain a little bit about the Day of the Dead. This is a Mexican tradition. On October 28th, the celebration begins by lighting a white candle and white flowers to honor those who have passed away. On the next day, October 29th, a glass of water and another candle is lit to honor the helpless souls. On October 30th, a new white candle is lit, and water and bread are left for those who passed away suddenly. On October 31st, another candle is lit, and a glass of water and white bread and fruit are left to honor our ancestors who have passed away. Then, on November 1st, it's All Saints' Day. My family sets up an altar with all of the favorite meals of our ancestors who have passed away. This includes foods like bread, fruits, soda, even candy, and a small loaf of bread too. On November 2nd, the souls of our deceased ancestors come to visit. That's when we have a party. At the end of the party, our ancestors have to go back home. It's time for us to say goodbye to them. We use orange flowers to help guide their way back to Mexico. we release the flowers to say goodbye. For Mexicans who live in Mexico, that night is a time when they celebrate people who have passed away. They're celebrating the Day of the Dead. They use black and white face paint to make them look like a skeleton, and they also hold those orange flowers. If you go to a party, you'll see lots of people there, and most of them are speaking Spanish. Mexican kids will watch puppet shows, where the puppets are actually skeletons. The skeletons are the stars of the show. There's also candy that looks like skeletons. They're sugar skulls. As part of the celebration for the Day of the Dead, pictures of our ancestors are put on the altar with small little skeletons. There's also some food too. Things like bread, fruit, candy, and soda. Then our family will come over to our house to visit and see the altar, and we have a party together. Finally, on November 3rd, we still have the altar set up at our house, and the hope is that our ancestor spirits will come to visit again next year.
Hi, my name is Hazim. I'll share a cultural tradition from my family. It's called Eid Mubarak. My family celebrates Ramadan, so this cultural tradition happens at the end of the fasting. During Ramadan, we don't eat except for at night. So we come together for Eid Mubarak to celebrate, to be together, multiple families, spending time, meeting each other, and this social event becomes a real celebration at the end of Ramadan. Eid Mubarak is something we do every year.
Hello everyone, my name is Anel Petion. I'm originally from Haiti. Haiti is a small island that's south of the United States and just off the coast of Cuba. While Haiti will always be my home, now I live in the United States. Families all have their own ways of celebrating, and I wanted to share one of our cultural traditions with you. One of the ways that we celebrate is by making JOUMOU soup. I'll show you a picture of what it looks like, but first let me go through some of the ingredients. There's squash, tomatoes, carrots, potatoes, pasta, and a whole bunch of other things too. Usually we make JOUMOU soup for a special occasion, and every year one of those is New Year's Day, which is celebrated on the same day as Haitian Independence Day. On that day, our family always comes together to share a meal, and JOUMOU soup is one of the special dishes that we prepare. My family follows a recipe for JOUMOU from Zoe. It's one version of JOUMOU that my whole family follows because it's a really good representation of our culture. I'll show you a picture at the end here. But JOUMOU is something that everyone in the family loves to eat. We look forward to coming together every year and having JOUMOU, and I can't imagine that tradition ever changing. It's celebrated on January 1st because that's New Year's Day and also Haitian Independence Day. It's important for us to pay our respects to our home country of Haiti and carry on that tradition. My family has always enjoyed coming together on this special day to celebrate with JOUMOU soup, and I hope that if you ever have the opportunity to try JOUMOU, you'll enjoy it too. Thanks for watching!
On Christmas Eve, we celebrate the Feast of Seven Fishes. We eat shrimp and fish and all kinds of seafood. We do 7 because of the 7 Catholic sacraments. Also, we have a tradition because my family is Italian. We go to church, and at 1 or 1:30, after church is over, we get together and the whole family comes together. We have grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, everyone around the table, and we eat together. We have spaghetti and meatballs, but the red sauce that goes on top, we don't call it sauce. For us, we call it gravy. Also, every year in August, we get all the tomatoes, and with my grandmother, we mix up a big pot of homemade gravy.
Hi, my name's Gia, and I'm here to tell you about one of the traditions that we have in my family. In my family, we celebrate the life of anyone in our family who may have passed away by releasing a balloon, similar to the one that I have here. For this, I've picked one family member whose life we celebrate together every year, and that's my brother, James Lee Hennessy. We celebrate his birthday together every year by releasing balloons. Now, it doesn't have to be with just one balloon, but it might be one balloon that several kids release together, or each family member could have their own balloon. I have one here, and I'll show you how we do it. After we release the balloon, we reflect on the significance of that person's life and remember what they meant to us. We want them to know that we're thinking of them, that we love them, and that even though they are gone, they haven't been forgotten. Our lives have been and will continue to be touched by their impact on us. By coming together like this, it also helps keep our family united and strong. That's it.
Hi everyone. My name is Peter Dammer. I am 2 things. I am Asian American and I'm a snake. In China, we have a tradition of celebrating a specific holiday. It's called the Lunar New Year. If you haven't heard of the Lunar New Year before, I'll talk a little bit about it. It uses 12 different animals. And the Lunar New Year falls on a day sometime in January or February. It depends on the year. This year, for example, February 12th, and 2021 is the year of the ox. To celebrate this holiday, everyone comes together. Traditions are shared between parents and children, and families recognize the Lunar New Year by coming together. They'll visit one another's home and spend time eating dinner, typically traditional Chinese food. Also, gifts are given, and they're typically in a red envelope or pocket with money inside. The reason for the red envelope is that it's considered lucky. We also watch the lion dance. People put that costume on and perform. We also celebrate with firecrackers or fireworks. Watching them explode in the sky is one of my favorite parts. I'd also like to share some other things from Chinese culture. We eat whole fish, we eat rice, we eat dumplings, and we eat sweet rice balls, which are soft and round. We also have a lot of different kinds of noodles. For dessert, we eat things like sesame, moon cakes, which are really good, and we also have traditional clothing. We have the tang suit and changsam. This is a clothing that's worn on special occasions. My family and I typically celebrate by watching some of the festivities on TV. After that, there's usually dancing, fireworks, and sometimes we'll buy Chinese food to help celebrate. If you want to say good wishes to someone on that day, you'd say, Happy Lunar New Year!